Assassin's Creed Mirage is going to be a huge success for Ubisoft, and here's why. Now, for those who don't know, Mirage started off as a Valhalla DLC, which is an upside of some sorts because it's using the same engine that they've been using for the past few years. Now, it can be a downside because we've seen most of what the engine can do and the capabilities of the engine and how it limits the parkour to an extent. However, the upside here is that they're going to be able to polish the engine as much as possible, which means we're going to get a very polished experience, unlike Ubisoft's previous releases, which usually come out a bit buggy. Adding on to that, Mirage is actually releasing 1 week before its intended release date. That is a very good sign, showing that the game is done, it's gone gold, and now they're just polishing and squashing any bugs, which is a very good sign of the game's polish and performance. Now, the way Assassin's Creed Mirage has been marketed is that they are going back to Assassin's Creed's roots, which is a very good thing to keep in mind because all the gameplay systems, the parkour, the stealth, the combat, all of it is being redesigned in order to focus more on a stealth-orientated gameplay system. What that means is we're gonna pretty much focus mostly on parkour and stealth and planning out your attack, how to attack and infiltrate a base without getting seen. And they've been advertising the stealth weapon tool that we've been seeing for a while, from the gameplay walkthroughs to the small snippets we've seen on Instagram and Twitter, where they show us how each tool works, and there's a bunch of them, which is a very good sign that this game is gonna have a good variety for the stealth mechanics. Having tools and the ability to throw tools and use tools to distract and maneuver around guards is gonna be very enjoyable. It really adds to the stealth depth and detail. Anyone that's played Valhalla knows that the AI system, especially for stealth, was very broken. The guards would sense you when you're very far away from them. The stealth was unplayable in Valhalla. I played it like an action RPG, and I'm very glad to know that the devs have focused on rehauling and fixing up the AI systems for the guards to react like normal guards would, which just adds to the stealth system they're working on, which is another advantage to Mirage. Another thing that they've pretty much focused on here is black box missions. Black box missions are those that were in Unity and in Syndicate, and they also did make a return in Valhalla's DLC. However, they were pretty mediocre in Valhalla's DLC, considering the AI and just how RPG-like that game was. So the execution in Valhalla was very mediocre. In this game, supposedly from what we've heard, we haven't seen any of this, but from what we have heard, the black box missions are fully back, something like Unity, maybe a smaller scale of the Hitman games, but something like Unity and Syndicate, which honestly excites me because it really does add depth and opportunity to playing stealth in Mirage. Now, to push the players more into stealth, they've also taken the extra step to kind of make the combat more challenging and making Basim a bit weaker. This encourages the player to play stealthy and rewards them when you play stealthy. The combat systems in the previous games were very easy, repetitive. They were attack counter. It changed throughout the years, especially in the RPG systems, but they were still easy. I really hope they do add some challenge here, and that's what we've been seeing. That's why I'm excited for the combat system. It seems to be like a parry-based system. Let's see how it will work. Maybe like more like a Souls game, or maybe it's going to be a more difficult version of something like the Origins system, which I'm down for as long as there is challenge and something that will push you and reward you for playing in stealth. Now let's discuss the elephant in the room, and that's parkour. Many people have been dissatisfied from what we've seen. It still looks somewhat slow and janky compared to the older games. It looks better than Valhalla, but it does not seem like it's top-notch like Unity's system, which everyone really enjoyed. Now personally, while I do want the complex and detailed systems and the ejects and whatnot from the older games, giving us a smooth and good traversal system that gets you from point A to point B and doesn't clunk out or glitch out like Valhalla is going to be just fine to me. I know I don't expect it to be like the older games, to be like Unity, but if it gets me from point A to point B, it's an acceptable start. If that's their starting point, it's an acceptable start for Mirage, and hopefully for the future games, it will go back to what it was, a complex and fun traversal system. Now, one thing that they've improved from the RPG games is the animations. The animations of both parkour and assassinations seem to be better in the gameplay walkthrough we've got. They seem faster, more fluid, less clunky from Valhalla. I'm not sure if there are any new animations. I really hope there are, but if there aren't, having faster animations is key here. Now, to discuss the story, it's pretty exciting to have Basim, a character we've seen in a previous game. It's been a long time since we've got a character that we've seen in an older game make it to a new game or get their own game. And this one's obviously a prequel. And I'm very excited for that. From the story trailer we've seen, it seems like they're focusing heavily on a good story, on a packed and dense story like they said, like the devs said. The story is going to take anywhere between 12 to 15 hours. That means we won't be getting any of the filler and the level gating we got in the RPG games, which is pretty good for the pacing of the game. In general, it's just going to flow way better. We're going to be more invested in the story, and that's something that makes me very hyped. One thing that worries me though is the character models and the cinematics seem very low quality, which is very odd, especially when you have games like Unity and Syndicate in the series. They took a hit, obviously, with the RPG series, but still, they still did look better than what we've seen in the trailer. The trailer looks very janky. The animations of the faces and the cinematics, they seem like they've ditched mocap and they're focusing on more of a procedural face-to-face system, which is a hit, honestly. That's one of the downsides that could affect the story negatively. But when it comes to the writing and how it's going to be set up, I'm pretty excited because the pacing seems to be very tight, and a shorter story, at least for me, means quality over quantity. The past RPG games have been way too bloated, and Mirage seems to fix all of that, give us an older experience, and I'm very happy. What do you guys think about Mirage? Are you hyped for it or are you not? Personally, I'm very hyped for it. I think you can tell in the video, and I think it's going to be a major success, at least by taking us back to the game's roots. It's gonna bring back many old Assassin's Creed fans that have been lost throughout the RPG trilogy. So yeah, I'm very much hyped for Mirage. I really do hope they get a good game out there. I hope it's a success in both sales and in engagement and in reception from both reviewers and gamers. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe because I'll be making more discussion videos. Like the video so it can get out there, and I'll see you in the next one.